Tap, is this thing on? 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hello and welcome to the coding break. Hello, y'all. So we are into our next. Should I say stream of income or shall I say next strategy for maximizing our certification? I think we're gonna go with maximizing our certification. So you have it. This is my microphone. We could call this a twofold. It could be a speaker, or it could be a podcaster, or it could be both. Let's do both. Let's do both. Of course, with podcasting, with being a public speaker, you have to speak. So, yes, so I am back with another how-to video, and in this video, we will be talking about creating a podcast and becoming a public speaker. When you're public speaking, don't do that. Don't do that. Just keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. So in this video, I will try my very best not to say is my favorite word. Is it even a word? But anyway, let's get started. So of course, public speaking, it depends. It depends. Now, is it a consistent stream of income? No. But I mean, I say it isn't. I say it's not. It could very well be a consistent stream of income depending on who you are or what your topic is, what you're talking about. You know, or maybe you can make big bucks off of one speaking engagement or one conference event. So I have spoken across the country, the continent. I've spoken across North America, okay? I have spoken across North America. And the topic or the topic that I actually spoke on, the one that took me to different states, is how to get away with surgical coding. Why? Because it was an exciting title. Of course, if you are an avid TV watcher, and shout out to Viola Davis, How to Get Away with Murder, and Shonda Rhimes. How can I forget about Shonda Rhimes, right? So How to Get Away with Murder, and of course, that's what prompted me to actually create my title, or my presentation title, is How to Get Away with Surgical Coding. I was sitting watching How to Get Away with Murder while I was creating my presentation, and it's like, how to get away with surgical coding, step-by-step practical guides on how to dissect an operative report. Not only that, I took questions that were asked of me, again, by some former students, some former colleagues, clients, what have you. How can I bypass that task of dissecting an operative report to get straight to coding? And really, truthfully, there is no way to get around it. However, I wrote a book and I spoke on it to share with you how to dissect an operative report, right? So yeah, so if you watch my other video where I was talking about how to become a coding author, I share practical tips. I share how I started into that journey of becoming an author, and this is how it started. It all started with an invitation to speak, to talk about something I know, right? And I just happen to know about dissecting an operative report because I am a surgical coder, right? By experience as well as by credentials, right? But long story short, you have to know how to speak. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be very well. Do you have to be very well? You have to be able to communicate effectively, whether that be writing or speaking. But if you're going to be a public speaker, you definitely have to be able to speak, right? Yeah. You have to keep the audience engaged. You have to be informative. And so I also mentioned this thing in another video, like when you're speaking, you want to tell the people what you're going to tell them. You're going to tell them, and then you're going to tell them what you told them. So I'm going to tell you about public speaking. And so with public speaking, you have to be able to articulate effectively. You have to have an informed message. Leave your audience with a takeaway. What is the takeaway of you speaking to them, whether it's publicly or on a podcast? There has to be a takeaway, right? So in the case of coding, you're teaching them something about coding, whether you're teaching them practical steps or strategies on how to code, or perhaps a topic is assigned to you in regards to how to code, right? Or in my case, I did have a topic in mind, but the host of the event threw out surgery. And I'm like, oh my God, surgery. What about surgery? Well, there's a lot about surgery that we could talk about because there's so many specialties about surgery. And I would be there all day and all night talking about every different type of surgery. So hence, how to get away with surgical coding. What's the common denominator as it relates to coding, or in my case, surgical coding? You have to dissect the operative report. You have to read the operative report. So that is common across all surgeries in surgical coding. You have to read the operative report to come up with the codes. So yeah, so pretty much that's how I came up with my presentation on how to talk about surgical coding. There you have it. I told you what I was going to talk about. I talked about it, and then I just told you what I talked about, right? So that's all it is to public speaking. Now, there are some other things that are involved with public speaking, such as how long do you have to talk? Do you have to stand up? Do you have to have a presentation such as a PowerPoint? Do you have to have handouts? Your attire, how should you dress right now? So I'm on YouTube, okay? So those are things you need to take into consideration. And as far as pay, are they paying you, are they giving you an honorarium? Are they paying you for the actual speaking? Are they paying you for lodging? Are they accommodating your lodging? Are they, what are the details? Are they, how many times do you have to speak? How many presentations do you have to give? So all of those things. So like I said, I've spoken across the country on that particular subject, and of course on other topics as well. But that was the one that was like my book tour, my speaking tour. I was talking about how to get away with surgical coding. Now I have and was invited to speak at a conference. I did. I had maybe 3 or 4 topics to talk about. I can't remember because it was pre-pandemic, but I did speak on it. And one thing I will say with this, be prepared. Know your information, know your topic in, out. Rehearse. You want to rehearse for, to avoid the syndrome. You want to rehearse to make sure that you're meeting the time objective that has been set out for you by the conference host or the event host. You want to make sure you allow time for questions as well as answers. And then also you want to record how you look, whether you're recording or whether you're practicing with a family member. And and if you have children, if you have teenagers, oh baby, they will tell you, you're saying too many times, right? So, and I did it. I'm sorry. Y'all, I'm a conversationalist, okay? I am a conversationalist. You can tell I love podcasting because of how I'm rambling or how I'm talking to you. And I say all that now that we're pivoting into podcasting. Your podcast has to be, I don't want to say entertaining. Again, the same thing with public speaking should be applied to your podcasting. You should have an idea of what you want to talk about. But like I said, I like to talk in a conversational type style. So when I communicate, I'm talking to you as if you're right here in front of me, just as I'm doing with this YouTube video, the camera. You're right there. I'm talking to you, right? The reason why I love talking in a conversational style is because I like to make the person with whom I'm communicating with feel comfortable. It makes me feel comfortable, and I'm able to easily communicate with you the information or share the information that I'm trying to share with you. in a comfortable, relaxed environment or style. So yeah, so I am here, I'm relaxed, I am rambling, I'm talking about public speaking. Again, we talk about how much can you make. One, it can be consistent or inconsistent when it comes to the stream of income. You may do one event and get paid enough that would constitute maybe 10 events throughout the year, or vice. You may do 10 events, or you may do 50. You may do 100. I don't know. You may get paid where in honor. Once they get paid, you may receive an honorarium or thank you for presenting or attending their event. You may get paid as a subject matter expert. You may get paid, or your accommodations, such as your lodging, if you have to travel, or all of that may be incorporated into the payment from the conference or event host that you were invited to speak. So yeah, so I mean, there's some money there. There is money there. I wouldn't like forego it. But if you have trouble with like speaking, like you're nervous, do get on YouTube, right? It's your channel, or maybe you get on a recorder or a camera, practice. Again, family members, if you have teenagers, they're brutally honest with you. They are brutally honest with you. Again, they are brutally honest with you. And then also, by speaking, you're able to learn what your communication style is. Are you good at writing? Are you good at public speaking? Are you shy? Do you feel like you're going to pass out when you communicate, like public speaking? Or maybe you're a trainer in your organization or your coding department. If you are a trainer, then you should, I don't want to say you should be comfortable with public speaking because you're training their coding staff or your team. So yes, but again, practice, it is a lucrative stream of income that you can make to, it's not passive because you have to be present to speak. And with it being, I guess, post-pandemic or even in the pandemic, you have a lot of virtual events. So you may not have to worry about traveling. You could do it from the comforts of your home, your workspace, your office, what have you. So yeah, so that is our second stream of income. Again, public speaking or podcasting. All right.